This is the Week 8 forecast for fantasy football for the Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, brought to you by Fantasy Football Time. Follow us at Fantasy FB Time on all social media platforms. Welcome to Week 8, Falcons and Bucs fans. We have even records against one another. Someone's going to come out on top. Someone's going to come out at 500. Falcons coming off a loss against Seattle. They've certainly cooled down the last few games. Kirk Cousins with not really impressive stats. Bijan Robinson, on the other hand, he's re-emerging as a really strong running back in the league. 103 yards with one touchdown and 40 yards in the air. Drake London holds serve, gets his touchdown as well. Mooney cools off. McCloud also cools off. One catch for him. And Pitts is kind of maintaining his a pretty good year. I think he's been on the radar. He hasn't crushed, but he's staying relevant from a fantasy standpoint. Tampa Bay Buccaneers suffer greatly in the loss against Baltimore. Baker has a great day, getting three touchdowns, 2 interceptions, still manages 30 points because of those 370 yards. Godwin done for the year. That is brutally painful, fantasy managers. 7 catches, 65 yards towards the end of the game. That's too bad. Mike Evans also nearly hauls in a second touchdown on his second catch. He's done for the next 3 games. Really 4 weeks you're going to be without Evans because the bye week's coming up. Rashaad White getting 26 fantasy points, looking amazing with really to call out 6 catches for 72 yards and 2 catching touchdowns. We always love that. Bucky Irving, 6 points, forecasted 15 received on the ground scramble for the touchdown. And Cade Otton gets a 100-yard day. I think we're going to see an uplift in Cade going forward. Looking at the matchup, we have Cousins with 17, Bijan, Drake, Darnell Mooney, maybe McCloud, maybe Pitts. I think the top half of this list you can play with confidence. The bottom half of this list really is a flex at best because of that touchdown uncertainty. Let's take a look at the defense. They allowed 41 to Baltimore, who's one of the most high-powered offenses. 27 against New Orleans. They're not that great, but they still allowed 27. And 36 to Atlanta a couple weeks ago. So Atlanta looking to repeat. I think what's really interesting is that this could easily be, if you look at the higher-ish over-under, we can easily see 3 to 4 touchdowns in the game, which is great. So I'd say 2 for Cousins, 1 on the ground, with maybe an extra to spare depending on game script. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you have a couple different changes you're going to have to do. Wide receiver-wise, makes it really difficult. That puts Baker in a compromising position because he's been such a great fantasy player this year. If you want to roll the dice and trust in Baker, be my guest. I would probably look for an alternative for Baker this week. Rashaad White, I think, is someone you can rely on. Jalen McMillan is going to be stepping in. He certainly has some upside if you're desperate for a flex play. Same with Bucky Irving. Cade Otton, I also think, will bear the load of additional receptions too. Falcons defense, they allowed 37 to Seattle, held Carolina to 20, which is not saying a whole lot, and allowed 30 to Tampa Bay last time. So they can be scored upon. We're just going to be doing it with the next man up here. So play with caution, Tampa Bay fans. Otherwise, Atlanta, you are good to go. Thanks so much for watching. Follow and subscribe at Fantasy FB Time. Welcome to Week 8. God bless.